12-year-old boy deep in me somewhere.
Oh,
Ooh,
God,
that
awful.
is also not
Yeah,
a good sentence.
don't like that either. No.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome back.
I'm Kira.
I'm Max.
And this is In Case It Helps, the show where we have a little chat, share a little fact, and dole out some advice to your questions in case it helps.
Shall we?
Let's chat.
Quick, best word you learned this week.
Whoa.
Dive right in. No context.
Okay.
Go.
The best word I learned this week was Wheedle.
Wheedle?
Wheedle.
Wheedly?
Wheedle. Wheat thins.
Oh, I love wheat thins.
Wheedle is to use flattery or coaxing to persuade someone to give you something you want. Like he wheedled his way onto the guest list.
He's also a Pokemon.
Ah, yes.
Wheedle is a Pokemon. He's a little bug
Yeah.
guy. He sucks.
Yeah, I'd eat him.
You'd eat him? Oh,
Yeah, we had a
right.
conversation with our friends last week about which Pokemon would you eat. And it ultimately just came down to like which of the Pokemon look the most like the animals that we eat.
Miltank, obvious choice, right?
Yeah, he's cute, but he's cow,
48-hour dry-aged Miltank steak.
unfortunately.
Wheedle, I love that. That was a fabulous word.
I think I learned that one from The Beautiful and the Damned. I went on an F. Scott Fitzgerald reading spree, and it's a really fun sort of brain game. Like it kind of puts me in the flow state because I have to focus so hard to keep track of what the hell he's talking about. Like his prose
It is florid.
is florid and archaic. It's the kind of book where you can find yourself having read with your eyeballs for a full page and then go, I have no idea what's happening. Like you really have to pause and process and stay engaged.
I'm currently reading The Sheltering Sky by Paul Bowles.
You've been loving it.
It's a masterpiece. I'm obsessed with it. It's
Cool.
incredible writing, and there's a movie about it. And I'm like thrilled to get to the end of it and watch the movie.
Nice.
I'm also terrified to get to the end of it because then I won't have to read it.
Yeah,
I won't have it to read.
I was reading Less, contemporary novel by Andrew Sean Greer. I was reading it in Canada, and I started getting to the end, and I like started stretching it because I knew it was almost over. And I went down to the park, and I sat there, and I read the end, and I cried, and it was so lovely. And then I found out there was a sequel.
The best surprise.
I know. So now my contemporary fiction is the sequel, Less is Lost, and I'm really enjoying it.
Beautiful.
What is your word of the week?
I learned a word this week that is called hebdomadal.
Ooh.
It is the weak adjective.
Huh.
Like how quotidian is day, hebdomadal is week.
Oh.
A hebdomadal appearance on a late night show.
Because Heb is 7.
Because heb,
Like heptagon.
absolutely.
That's
7
great.
days, yes,
Is there
absolutely.
any reason you would ever use hebdomadal and not just weekly?
I don't think it's like functionally a very useful word.
It feels a bit magniloquent, which was my other word that I was considering giving you this week.
Wait, big talk?
Yeah, big talk. Magna, big,
Magnus,
loquent,
yeah.
like loquacious. Yeah, magniloquent means like using big, flowery language, but like there's more style than substance. It's like a
Got it.
little bit of
It
an
doesn't
insult.
actually mean
You
anything.
might say, oh yeah, he's magniloquent, like to someone who's pretentious.
But also calling someone pretentious by using the word magniloquent is like a
Yeah.
little bit telling on yourself, just a little bit.
Yeah, that's really funny. It's sort of a self-referential,
Self-own little bit.
self-fulfilling. Yeah.
Pot, kettle, black. Pot, kettle, magniloquent.
Pot, kettle, magniloquent. Pot, meat, kettle. Can open. Worms everywhere.
May I ask you the second question of the week?
Well, this is only the first question.
We've only talked about
Lordy.
words so far.
Alrighty, onward.
Best thing you ate this week?
Ooh, okay. Not to brag, but
That was very Alexis of you.
I'm a cool big yacht. I'm a big cool yacht.
I'm a
I'm
little
a real
bit
big
single.
yacht. What are the adjectives?
I'm a
little bit single, even
when
when
I'm
I'm
not.
not. Okay, sorry.
Fold in the cheese. Sorry.
Fold in the cheese. You're not somebody who like quotes television all that often unless it's Schitt's Creek.
It's Schitt's Creek or nothing, basically.
love.
Yeah. Or people don't realize it because usually I'm quoting Fry and Laurie, but I think I'm the only person I know who's seen Fry and Laurie, so it just comes off like I'm being weird.
Yeah, not to brag. But like I said, I've been really investing time into hobbies that require a little bit more effort for a big payoff and get me off my phone for extended periods of time. And so I've been cooking. It's been so lovely because like you can just make exactly what you're craving. And like if it's a little salty, whatever. If it's a little overcooked, you eat it and you fix it next time. And I'm learning that it doesn't have to be so scary. And like my knife skills are getting better and I'm a little less scared. I made homemade red sauce, Max's recipe that he's been making almost every week since we met, like an old Italian nonna, and I'm very grateful. I love Max's red sauce. So I made red sauce from scratch and then I turned that red sauce into a lasagna. It was really good.
Miltank
Made
lasagna.
chili. That was really yummy. But yeah, so the best things I ate this week were things that I made, and I'm very proud of that. They weren't
so glad.
mind-blowing, but I made them, and
No,
that
they were.
made
That
them taste
lasagna was
better.
delicious.
Thank you.
I can confirm.
Well, also you helped me with the recipe.
I do my best.
What was the best thing you ate this week? And if you don't say my lasagna, I want a divorce.
Yeah, it was your lasagna. But the second best thing I ate this week was we hadn't seen our friends in ages, and we all had a big reunion, and we went for Ethiopian food.
Yes!
And we sat at this beautiful big table with a huge platter of injera and a bunch of stuff on top.
Injera
Kids
is
incredible.
the spongy
Yes, injera is a little spongy bread.
very thin.
It's quite tart. It's a little bit sour, which is a brilliant thing. It helps you cut through all of these rich dishes. And it's a beautiful communal way of eating.
We also had some really good Ethiopian beer.
Oh, we did.
I'm not
yes,
really
we
a
had
beer
a couple
girl,
of
but
Ethiopian
I
beers.
loved
It was super
those
cool.
beers.
One of them was incredibly appley. It was almost like a cider.
Totally. Can I tell my story of my one other experience with Ethiopian food I've had in my whole life?
Yeah, please.
I guest starred on a freeform series called Good Trouble. And there was a scene where we're all in the coterie, where the main characters all live, and we're all sitting at this big table having a communal meal. And it was Ethiopian food. And I had never seen Ethiopian food. And I was so excited that the first take, I ate so much. And then I was like, oh no, I have to match what I did in the first take for every take. And so every take I ate so much. I waddled out of set that day. But I had been wanting to have it again in a restaurant context for many years. So I was glad I got to go in and do it. It was great.
And lovely to see our friends again.
Yes, really nice reunion dinner. We needed it.
That was the best thing I ate this week. We've done word, we've done eat. I would like to know the best fact you learned this week.
From 1912 to 1946, the Olympics had art competitions. Architecture, sculpture, literature, music.
Whoa! Why did they stop?
They stopped because a lot of the people who were competing were professional artists, and they decided that that wasn't ultimately in the spirit of amateur competition, which was, at one point, a very big part of the Olympics. You had to be an amateur. When and why did it stop being that you had to be an amateur? Because nowadays, everyone in the Olympics, they are a professional and their whole life is their sport. When did that change and why?
When? I don't know. It was here. Why? I kind of know two reasons for it. My understanding is that just as sport evolved and the records got higher and higher and we were reaching higher sort of zeniths of achievement, more infrastructure was required, more coaching for the athletes. It was harder and harder to do it. And therefore, asking athletes not to be full-time professionals and not make money was just kind of counter to the spirit of achieving humanity's quickest, fastest, strongest, whatever the motto of the Olympics is.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
Harder, better, faster, stronger. And I think the other reason is that different countries had kind of different definitions of what a professional was.
Oh, right, yeah. Communist countries have a different...
Any of the socialist countries, they have a different understanding of what professional means. And so because there were no professional athletes in those countries, their best athletes could compete. Whereas the best athletes in the US were professionals and couldn't, and therefore there was an imbalance in who could compete from which countries.
So yeah, that was my fact. The Olympics had art. And in fact, from 1956 forward, many Olympics have integrated cultural Olympiads or cultural exhibits. So there is still kind of an artistic element to the Olympics. And obviously there is a very visual element in terms of the branding and the design that changes from year to year, the mascots, all of that. But yeah, there was art. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that there isn't. I already think that the intersection of art and commerce is weird. I think that judging art is so weird. I guess you can judge it from a technical perspective, but art is communication, art is statement, art is cultural response. Art often is anti-establishment, and so for it to be judged by an establishment is kind of antithetical to what art is. And there's already sports in the Olympics that I kind of feel weird about the way that they're judged, skating and gymnastics even. Yeah, there's a very easy way to score the technical stuff, but the artistic stuff it's esoteric, it's intangible, it's subjective. There are skaters that make me cry, but they don't win because they can't do quad or triple, whatever. And there are gymnasts who can do unbelievable feats, but they don't have the artistic side of it, and that's fine. I think Simone Biles is the greatest of all time and should win everything ever, but there are other gymnasts who there's just a feeling to their quality of movement that is, valuable in a different way. So, I don't know, the sports that interact and overlap with artistry it's weird the way that they're judged. I'm glad that ballet isn't in it. There was ski ballet? In the Olympics, yeah, there was another ski sport that was doing standing on flat snow, doing crazy tricks on your skis, pirouetting and spinning and being nimble in your skis. It's cool.
Fascinating.
So yeah, that's my fact.
I love that. That's so cool.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
What's your fact of the week?
I learned this week that before rubber erasers were invented, people used bread.
What?
They would like get squidgy white bread and they'd crumple it up, and if you go rub, it gets rid of the pencil
Just
shavings.
more proof that bread is the best thing ever invented. More proof!
More proof.
Ah, that made producer Danny laugh.
That's the best win.
In case we haven't mentioned it in this episode and you're new here, producer Danny is my dad.
Kira's dad.
Shout out, Dad.
Yes, naturally, I researched more about rubber erasers when they were invented.
You guys just call them rubbers, right?
Rubbers,
Eh.
which is different over here.
Giggity. Sorry.
That was a South Park reference?
It was a South Park reference.
We're reaching dark times in the end of the season here.
12-year-old boy deep in me somewhere.
Oh,
Ooh,
God,
that
awful.
is also not
Yeah,
a good
don't
sentence.
like that either. No. I hate everything about that.
I'm so sorry.
Let me
Okay,
tell you
so-
instead where erasers were invented.
Yeah,
it's
please.
1770s. All is well. Everything
the
is
rubber
great.
tree?
They, maybe, but also now there's all kind of plastics. But the rubber eraser was invented by a guy whose name might ring a bell. His name was Joseph Priestley. Ring a bell?
Yeah.
Maybe. Joseph
Why?
Priestley, well, he's famous for a bunch of different things. He was kind of this like polymath, scientist, chemist guy that you could be in the 1700s because things hadn't been invented yet. And he invented a bunch of stuff, but the thing he's like most awarded the contribution to science of having discovered is oxygen and ammonium and carbonated water. Actually, I'm going to asterisk myself a little bit here. He didn't discover oxygen. He discovered the thing that was oxygen. He called it dephlogisticated air.
We talking about fire?
We're talking about phlogiston.
We're talking about phlogiston, which is the state of matter that they thought fire was. Turns out fire is not a state of matter. It's a chemical process.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing is the result of a chemical process.
But all of these scientists, they were like, when things burn, they get lighter. Ergo, it must be releasing something. And they were like, okay, the thing it's releasing must be called phlogiston.
Wow.
And so Priestley comes along and he's like, this must be dephlogisticated air. And then that's, for a while, the phlogiston model of combustion. Later on, Antoine Lavoisier comes along, renames it oxygen, and we now move to the oxygen model of combustion. But that's the same guy who invented the eraser.
Wow.
Crazy
Of course.
discography, right?
Crazy discography. I do need it to be known that actually Joseph Priestley is not familiar to me. I think I was thinking of Miranda Priestley from
yes.
The Devil Wears Prada.
Very good.
Sorry about that. She didn't invent fire.
Distantly related.
Her clothes were fire.
All right, take away his mic.
Yeah.
No, that was good, Dad. I appreciated
Very
that.
good.
Great fact.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What was the best thing you watched this week?
I watched Law and Order SVU for the first time because
Dun
dun, etc. Dun dun et al. Because our friends hosted an SVU murder mystery party and they assigned us all characters and I was like, well, I'm an actor, I'm gonna do my research. And so we watched like several episodes from the very beginning and then a couple episodes that my character was in. And first of all, like I always love watching any show from like the late 90s, early 2000s because I just feel like there was a special sauce. Everything was a little grainier and a little more filmic and the scoring was good. And also there's like a weird hazy vague nostalgia from like late 90s, really early 2000s stuff because I was born in 97. So things that I sort of peripherally absorbed through culture from ages like 0 to 8 are fun to revisit as an adult. But in the process, we looked up Dick Wolf. First of all, crazy name, incredible. Second of all, this man has made like 400 different TV shows. He must have made 3,000 episodes
Every
of television.
procedural you've ever seen is a Dick Wolf production.
It's like
unbelievable.
they're all cops and
Firefighters or
firefighters and like they're all procedurals and
it raises a red flag about what's going on in his mind. If he can come up
maybe.
with that many different crime procedurals.
yeah, I'm impressed and I also think I fear him. But yeah, I recommend going to Dick Wolf's IMDb. Yeah,
Very impressive.
Dick Wolf, I
Yeah.
respect you. I fear you. Congratulations on making more television than maybe anyone else in the history of the world. And I'm glad that I have seen SVU because every time I absorb a piece of culture, I feel more like a real person. And I'm glad that I now understand why Taylor Swift has a cat named Olivia Benson. I didn't, and now I do. It's also, that's so funny and so millennial of her. That's very sweet. I find that very
It is.
endearing.
It's quite endearing.
Yeah. What is the best thing you watched this week?
Big fish.
Big fish?
Big fish.
Big fish.
Big
Big fish.
fish. Big fish.
Big fish.
Big Fish. Tim Burton's 2003's Big Fish. I went to watch it because everyone says, like, it's a cult classic. It's my favorite movie. Nostalgia, 10 out of 10, incredible. It's written by John August, who I love, and I love his podcast Script Notes. So I was like, okay, I can take
that John
multiple
August.
back John August.
We love Script Notes. Oh my God. If
Yeah.
you guys want a podcast by smart people, specifically about screenwriting, even if you're not a screenwriter, they're just very smart people and they will change your understanding of the content that you absorb. Even if you're not someone who makes TV and
is in the
film,
industry.
I'm sure you'll watch TV and film. Go listen to Script Notes. You'll learn a lot.
It's fabulous. He is the screenwriter of Big Fish, and I also love Ewan McGregor, so I was like, I'm going to go and do this for research. And it was freaking delightful. It is so weird and so nice and so 2003, and it's scored and it's characterful and sort of meditative. I totally understand why so many people are so fond of it.
Yeah. Why is it called Big Fish?
Dad, sort of the patriarch fella, turns into a magical big fish.
Oh. I thought you were about to be like, because he's a big fish in a small pond and it's an allegory for like
No, I
moving
mean,
on to
it
bigger
is all
pastures.
metaphorical. He turns
No,
into
for
a big
sure.
fish, lives forever as
But
a
he
creature
turns into a
within
fish?
the lake. Yeah, basically everyone that you meet on this sort of like Grecian-style Odyssey journey meets together around the edge of this lake, and the old dad walks down towards the lake and he falls into the river and he waves everyone goodbye and he sinks and he turns into a fish and he swims away. And it's just like magnificent.
Very good.
I loved it. That was the best thing I watched this week.
Very good.
Last thing, before we move on to our viewer questions of the week, $1 million idea.
A little tool that makes it easier to clasp your own jewelry, especially when you have long nails.
Yeah.
I've recently started getting hard gels, and I've been taking collagen, and my nails have gotten really long. Not right now. Don't look at them. I chopped them all off a couple weeks ago because I wanted to go climbing and play guitar and do all of my short nail activities. So they're kind of not their best right now, but they were really long, and I've been also trying to like accessorize more. I got a watch, and I've been like trying to just be a little bit more playful with my fashion expression, even on my off days where I'm not being seen, just to like make myself feel better and more productive. And I've really been struggling. Even like trying to help each other. Max will sometimes come to me and be like, "Hey, honey, you do my necklace," which like I always do, and I go, "Yeah, no problem." And then I'm like, because of my long nails.
I think that's brilliant.
Thank you.
I would buy it.
Actually, come to think of it, this would probably be a really good accessibility tool for certain disabilities.
Right, of course, or arthritis or something
Yeah,
like
arthritis,
that.
fine
right.
motor impairment,
Yeah.
which actually reminds me, I saw something really cool recently about a list of inventions, things that made the world better, that were originally designed as accessibility tools for disabled people. The electric toothbrush was created for people with mobility
Fascinating.
issues. Curb cuts in sidewalks for wheelchairs, but very helpful also for
Prams,
strollers,
yeah, right.
luggage, bikers, bendy straws for people to be
Bendy
able to
straws,
drink.
right, yeah.
Also, the text-to-speech functions that have evolved to become, personal assistants and like a huge
Right.
part of the way that we interact with our personal technology were accessibility aids.
course,
And so
yeah.
I think the person who I saw talking about this was saying, like, you shouldn't need it to serve you to want it, but if you do, here you go.
It
It
serves you,
will.
right.
Oh, it was Molly Burke,
Oh, yes.
blind influencer
Yes.
who I actually met. We did a panel together at VidCon, and she was very, very smart and lovely and impressive. But she was saying, the disabled community is one of the only marginalized communities, if not the only one that anyone can join at any time. Most
Right.
disabilities happen from age or illness, which
Right. You
you
never know
will
when that's
become
coming.
disabled at one
Like,
point
yeah.
in one way or another. So anyway, we're very pro disability access. Let's keep making as many accommodations as we can to
It's
help
literally only a
disabled
good
people.
thing.
It is literally only a good thing to help people who need help, and also it literally helps everybody. More innovations. Always.
Yeah.
I know sometimes my $1 million ideas are just like, this is a thing I want someone to do, but this is a thing that you feel like you actually could probably brand, take it on Shark Tank,
For sure.
probably be fairly cheap to produce, sell it D2C, direct to consumer.
Give Kevin a royalty, because
Yeah.
he's going to ask for one.
It's funny, I was considering for my best watch of the week saying Shark Tank, which is funny because it's not because it's the best show ever, although sometimes it's pretty fabulous, but it's because I've been watching Shark Tank and pausing and actually trying to understand the deals, trying to calculate the valuation from percentages before it tells me, or like when Kevin throws out one of his insane unhinged royalty deals, trying to actually like understand what it means and like where the money is going when and what the percentage increase is until when, like just actually doing the math. Or even sometimes they'll throw out just like business words that I just have never seen, and I've like genuinely learned a lot from Shark
You
Tank.
can get a good starting education watching that show.
Yeah.
And it's entertainment, so like two birds, one stone.
Don't ever let anyone tell you that like watching TV is a waste of time. You can learn from pretty much anything, and if you're learning, it's not a waste of time.
ABC. Always be learning.
ABC, always be learning.
Beautiful.
What is your $1 million idea? I gotta strap in. Max goes so hard on the $1 million ideas. I love it.
I propose to you, Whine, Whine, Whine.
Eh.
This is a new car game. I am either going to say wine, the drink, wine with an H,
Eh.
or wind with a D.
Okay.
And you have to guess which.
I have to guess which one you're
Let's play.
say.
Let's play. Wine.
There's no difference between the drink and the sound.
But how quickly time will fly as you tried to figure it out.
I think that was the drink.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was the second one. That was
right.
the sound.
That's
But that's
fine.
my $1 million idea of the
My
week. I think
dad
it's-
nodding like he knew.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
It's not nothing.
Okay.
It's not nothing.
First, sure.
That's my idea. I think it's great.
I love you. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Also, we have come up with some pretty good kill time in the car games. Wait, producer Danny has something to add?
We spent a lot of time in the car going to auditions and to classes, and we played a game that we made up and called Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
It started as a game that my dad proposed where one person would start with a 4-letter word, and then you would have to change a letter to make it a different word, and you would go back and forth doing that as long as you could until you couldn't come up with a word, and that's how you lost. But for some reason, we kept finding ourselves landing on the word bard. So we ended up changing the game. I think this was my proposal. Yeah, it was. Okay. I proposed that the goal of the game should be to get to the word bard. And when you do, you say Shakespeare and you've won the game.
Brilliant.
Do you want to play a quick round of Shakespeare?
Sure, let's try it.
Rain.
Pain.
Pale.
Bale.
Ball. Oh, I know how to get there. Bale. Bear. Bard. Shakespeare.
Got it.
Yeah.
She's had practice.
And I do think that you can just go, oh, I've got it, and take over and do
totally.
the chain.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So yeah, that's Shakespeare. Shakespeare's fun.
I love that. That's super cool. Should we dive into some viewer questions?
I suppose
in
we should.
case it helps.
In case they help.
Question 1 today is from Lydia. Lydia asks, in a long-term relationship, how do you stop yourself from getting into the roommate phase?
So I actually think that this ties in nicely to a theme that has become a recurring theme throughout this episode, which is intentionality.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
I think that part of what makes a romantic relationship start to feel like a roommate relationship is when you sort of lose that sense of intentionality and the sort of active participation of being in a relationship. Yeah, well, there you go. Of being in a relationship. So I think, first of all, just noticing what sort of little habits you've let slide that maybe were a big part of your connection in the early days. Whether that's, when your partner comes home, like getting up and going to the door and greeting them rather than saying hi from the couch, or like noticing when their water bottle is empty and just filling it up without being asked. Like little bids for connection. The other thing that I think a roommate phase is that it is two individual people sort of melding into this one thing. I think part of what creates spark in a relationship is that it is two people coming together, right? It's like positive and negative magnets.
Right.
And if you lose that individuality, you're going to have less of that spark. So that leads me to kind of, I think, the most important thing here, which is investing in your individualities. And that can mean a lot of things. For us, one of the big things it means is taking solo time, both recognizing in ourselves when we need it and recognizing in each other when the other person needs it. Like sometimes I can see when you're starting to
see it
get
before I do.
a little bit like numb of brain, and I'll go, you should have the space, I'm going to leave. And like he notices it in me when I start to get like twitchy.
You have this kind of somatic reaction.
Yeah.
I don't even think you know you're doing it.
No,
but
physical
it's
touch
like,
is my love language.
Right,
Like I want
yeah.
him to have a hand on me or like giving me massages, like whatever, all the time. When I start jerking, that's when he's like, oh, you're overstimulated. You need some space to yourself. And obviously the other half of that is like not getting offended when your partner asks for that. And the way to do that is that it needs to be a two-way street where you both know the value of time alone, and that if your partner needs time alone, you won't get offended.
Yeah, one more thing to add to this, which I think you kind of touched on, is to stop assuming. I think there's this incredible sort of ease of once you know a person, assuming that things are going to be consistent, that the answers are going to be the same. And so you kind of stop asking things and you stop doing things.
You stop getting to know each other because you think you know each other.
And if you stop doing it as a partnership, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to continue developing together, which creates spark, as we talked about, because you're two individuals.
This ties in also really well with solo time because like giving each other opportunities to continue growing on your own. If everything you do is together, you don't have things to like ask each other about and tell each other about because you were there for all of it. So like part of why solo time is so valuable, not only because it refills your bar so that you have more in your own cup to pour into your partner's cup, is it gives you stuff to talk about. Like I love when Max and I spend a day apart, I'm like, oh, I can ask you, what did you do today? Like, what did you learn today, Right.
And two other things. The first thing is that part of the roommate phase is the room. It may just be that you're so used to existing in this space in the same way. Move the couch. Like, refresh the space. Like, maybe it'll just change the energy. We get very used to repeating behaviors in the same spaces because of familiarity, and just some little change, a different piece of artwork, a different color of flowers, anything you can do to freshen up your environment might also freshen up your brain. The second half is the phase. And I think the answer is in the title here. It's the roommate phase. It is a phase. It will come to an end and you will come back together. I think sometimes putting in the heavy work to like try and push through the phase or pretend it's not there or fight it might contribute to more burnout and less positive reaction than just kind of like being at peace with it.
It's kind of like creative block. When you have creative block, there's sort of two things you can do. You can either like build the structures to inspire creativity to come, or you can not worry about it and go do something else and feed yourself creatively, soul-wise, and that will turn into creativity, right? And like I think that trying to sort of get out of a roommate phase might have the same two paths. One is that you create the energy you want so that it snowballs into more of it. You kind of get inertia on your side. Or the other is you just go, this is okay.
It's funny that you mentioned creative blocks because our next question is about creative blocks.
Wait, really?
Absolutely.
Like our next question?
Our next question to tackle.
That's crazy. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk more about creative
I
block,
hope
I
that
guess.
helped. Let's talk about creative block.
Yeah.
Our second question today is from MD. MD writes, "Hi guys, how do you deal with creative block? I want to make a career out of writing, but it's hard to back myself when I can't guarantee that I can wake up and make something good."
Have you tried drugs? I'm totally kidding. That's a joke. That is a joke. That is a joke.
Do you stand by what you just said about it?
Yeah, I stand by what I said about it. I think that there are two approaches to creative block. One is you can't expect creativity to come unless you have built yourself the system to open that channel in your mind. So there is an amount of sort of habit building and environment creation to allow creativity to come to you, right? Like a lot of the most successful creative people in the world have had a practice where every day at this time they go to this place with their pen, with their paper, whatever place is conducive to creativity for them, and they take everything else off their books so that they are an open channel for creativity to come, and they force themselves to try, right? And that's the first part of it. But all of those creative people also have this other contingency, this other half of it, which is if it's not coming, stop. You can't be creative without having ingested things to metabolize, to rearrange, to be inspired by, and then produce. So for you, if that creativity is not coming, I would start with the systems. And then if the systems don't bear fruit, go get inspired.
Yeah, I also have two things that I hope will be helpful.
I hope they, in case it
I hope they, in case it helps.
Sorry.
The first one is a little semantic, but it did help me a little bit, which is that I feel like sometimes when you're writing, because it's a fairly isolated activity, right? You're typically doing it alone. It's sort of on you to spew characters and plot and story and arc and stakes, and that can feel like a lot of pressure and it can be overwhelming. I think just remembering that you can also be your own editor is really helpful. You can write a sentence, and then you can switch your cap from your writing cap to your reading cap, and you can say, first of all, do I like it or not?
Maybe you can. I do find that really hard, but you are really good at that.
But second of all, you can let it springboard further ideas. You can play improv games with yourself, right? You can yes and yourself into the next line. And again, I understand like fundamentally nothing is changing there, but it just feels a little less one way I have to get this out when you're willing to play with your ideas and back and forth them.
It's also breaking down something that's intimidating into its component parts that are more digestible. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Wanting to make a script is terrifying. Writing some stuff is something that's a lot easier. And then coming back to that stuff and editing it into slightly better stuff is something you can do. Yeah. Like if you can break it down into littler pieces, it can help. Also, I find it really helpful when I don't have the creative juices to just do admin work that needs to get done so that later when you do have the creative juices, you don't have to do the admin work. That can mean like, going back into the last like brain dump you put down and formatting it so that it's nice and clean for next time you need it.
Spell checking, fixing punctuation, that's great.
I'm writing a show right now, and like when I do get inspiration, it feels like I can't write it down quickly enough to not forget it. So I just sort of like blah, 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 into my voice memos or into my notes. And then later when I'm feeling like I want to make progress on my creative endeavors, but I don't feel like I have the creative juice, I can go, let me just go into that big note I vomited of creative stuff and just like format it so that next time I need to like share it with a colleague or like work on it more, I have something clean that I can go into.
Totally. Yeah, so my first thing is be your own editor. And the second thing is the role of craft in this, right? If you can familiarize yourself with classic writing structures, standard go-tos when problems arise, then you can always write your way out of a problem. It may not be the best solution, but it is a solution. And when you're talking about you want to be able to do this consistently every day, being really fluent in the structures, even if they don't always totally resonate, will just give you tools in your toolbox to keep yourself moving.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sort of speaks to what I was saying before. Like, the structure half of things can get you far when you're waiting for the inspiration side of things. Mm-hmm. And then when that doesn't work, go take a walk.
Yeah.
Good luck on all of your projects. It
Absolutely.
sounds like you're crushing it. I hope that you are struck with beautiful creative inspiration. And if not, I hope that you find a beautiful garden to walk through or a group of friends to go hang out with or a museum and a painting that inspires you and takes you on your next creative endeavor.
Should we look at our final question of the day?
We got another one. Let's do it.
Our final question of the day is from Ava. Ava writes, "Why is it so hard to find loyal friends? I always stick up for my girls, but they don't do the same for me."
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to acknowledge what I think is the root of your question, which is that you feel that you are not being supported by your friends, and you deserve to have great friends who you feel like stand by you and have your back and help make you better and make you feel safe. I want that for you, and hopefully we can give you some tips to get that. But I do just quickly want to talk about the word loyalty, because I don't think that you're necessarily using it this way, but I do think that loyalty sometimes hides really insidious ideology and behavior. I've seen a lot of girls be like, well, it doesn't matter that she thinks I shouldn't have blah, blah, blah. She's my friend. She's supposed to be on my side. And I think that is dangerous. And I think it's not true friendship.
Right, you don't want people who enable you.
Right,
or
right.
likewise,
yes,
you don't want to be enabling people in bad behavior.
I think loyalty can be used as like enabling bad behavior.
Yes, absolutely. I think one way to avoid that is that instead of placing our loyalty in people, I think we should place our loyalty in values and therefore hold close to people who exhibit those values.
Right.
For example, I think loyalty to integrity. Loyalty to truth and logic,
Honesty,
loyalty, honesty, but compassionate honesty, not brutal honesty.
Right.
Like I don't think that's a particularly good trait for someone to have. And I think when you do that, it becomes way easier to diagnose why relationships are or aren't working when they change over time, right? If someone shared values with you and they've changed, all of a sudden there's this like lodestar upon which you can connect. What's that change? Are they not exhibiting one of the traits that I previously valued? And therefore you understand how to react to it. Whereas if you don't have that and you're just loyal to a person, it becomes very, very difficult because there's no third point, right, to mark the change. It's just a shift.
So to sort of take it back to your question, like there is a chance that you're sticking up for them and they're not sticking up for you because the behavior that you're exhibiting is not behavior that they should be. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe like with all the compassion and love in the world, it might mean you want to take a look at why, but I don't think that that's what you're asking. What it sounds like you might be saying is like, I am going to bat for these people. I am investing support and friendship for these people that I don't feel is being reciprocated. And first of all, I really feel for you. I have been in that situation. I think everybody has been in what feels like an uneven friendship. And I think throughout the course of your life, you will be in many uneven friendships. You will be in friendships where you feel you're putting in more effort and that hurts. You will be in relationships where you feel like they're more invested in the relationship than you are. And that's also hard when you get to a place where you go, I can tell this person really wants to be friends with me and I'm not really getting enough out of this relationship to want to keep investing. And I think it's also like, it's okay. We don't all need to be besties with everybody.
Having acquaintances is super important.
Yeah, totally. But I think also it is very important to have friendships that are reciprocated, where your energy is given back to you and where you both feel supported and you are both equally excited and happy to be in this friendship and you have a mutual love and respect. And those are the best friendships. Those are the friendships that I think everyone deserves to have and I really hope that you have and find. So let's now transition to maybe these people are not your end-all be-all friends. Maybe they're people you just want to be acquaintances with. Maybe they are, and you can have a conversation because that is also something. Maybe you just need to say, hey guys, I really feel like I'm sticking up for you and I'm not getting it back. And hopefully they'll say, I'm sorry you feel that way and change their behavior. If they get all defensive and weird, you can try to work through it. Or maybe they're just not people you should be friends with. So yeah, I guess those are the paths really. Either talk to them and try to find common ground, or you might just decide this isn't a match. You know what I mean? It's like dating. Sometimes friendships just end up being by circumstance, by value, by things that happen that are outside of control, by different communication styles. Sometimes they just are not the right friendships, and then you find other ones. I mean, I also have been in friendships where it was a group of people and all I wanted was to be in the nucleus of the group, and I was a little bit of a peripheral friend, and when I was young that really made me sad. And then as I got older, I kind of just oh, they had an established friend group.
Yeah, you've experienced the other side of it now, and you know how much, in our friend group, we love our peripheral friends.
Right. We also have a very, very tight group now. Right. That is our whole world and means everything to us. And there are other friends who want to come join sometimes, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes you just want the group. So, having been on both sides of it now as an adult helps, but when you're young and you haven't experienced quite as many types of friendships, it's a little harder to navigate. But yeah, so I'm sorry that you're feeling that way, first of all. I just want to validate that. You will find your people. Keep your heart open. I hope that things work out with this group of friends. I hope that you can find a way to communicate and make yourself heard, and I hope that they're kind and responsive. And if not, I hope you have the courage to go, okay, that's fine. These aren't my people, and to know that you will find your people. You deserve that sense of community, and I think you'll find it.
I wish you much luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
I think we've come to the end of today's questions. Thank you so much for writing to us as per usual. If you want to drop your little comments, questions.
Please let us know your answers to the hors d'oeuvre questions. Best thing
Yeah.
you ate this week, best thing you watched, fun fact, food. Tell us interesting things. We love to learn from you guys. Smash the subscribe button. Genuinely, though, it does really help us. We are a new podcast and we have big goals and dreams.
I know because of analytics that like 60% of you guys aren't subscribed.
Whoa.
It's crazy. You cannot escape my
That's
vision.
okay.
So press the
I
button.
think it's fair for people to want to test out the waters before they commit. But if
think
you've
so,
made it
but
this,
if the water's
I
warm,
will
if
say,
you're 45 minutes into this or whatever,
if you've made
like-
it this far into the episode, I think that you should probably give us a little subscribe. And also, like, not only are we doing more podcasts, but I'll like take you to set with me and show you
Yeah.
behind the scenes of making a TV show.
a whole world to discover.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fun stuff that happens on this little YouTube channel.
YouTube channel.
So, thank you guys for being here. I hope it helped. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
A little cat.
Just a little one. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. That was so cute.
I've been really trying to read more as part of this great quest to be on my phone less, because the more I'm on my phone, the less good of a person I am, the less happy I am, the more impatient I am, the more overstimulated I am. Like, I've come to just treat myself as like a technology addict. I treat this piece of technology as what it is, which is a thing designed to be addictive. And I'm really trying to build structures and habits in my life to help me override that, because willpower is not enough. It's just not.
You need counter-engineering.
Yeah, we've all tried to like put screen limits on. You just press the button, it doesn't work. So I've been trying to build hobbies into my life that force me, or rather allow me, to disconnect from my phone, because I just feel so much better. Reading has been one of them. And I've seen some people be like, I can't read. I get bored. And I just want to say, like, I feel you, but gently and with love. That is a problem to work to fix, not a problem that you should allow make you not read. Like, I would love to encourage you to go, I would like to work to fix that, because I will get great reward from doing so. And this is me telling you, you will get great reward, not only because you will absorb culture and you will learn things, and reading is amazing. It's also really fun. It's like once you get into it, but because you will be rewarded, because a slower attention span that needs less dopamine and instant gratification means you can then invest time and energy into things that give you huge payoffs and that are very, very rewarding. So, just quickly, like, ways to do that: have a contemporary book, an old book, and a nonfiction book all at once, so that you can pick the one that like suits your brain most. Like I was saying with the F. Scott Fitzgerald stuff, sometimes I really want the brain game of like old words, but sometimes I like pick it up and I'm like, nope, can't do this. I just need to read a modern book with like regular freaking words and like a fun plot. And sometimes I'm just like, nope, I want to learn about the real world. I don't care about fiction right now. I want to read about Japanese literature, which I'm reading right now and really enjoying. Anyway, yeah, read more, I guess, is my statement.
Yeah.
And Wheedle.
And Wheedle is your second statement.
Is
One,
my
read
second
more.
statement.
Two, Wheedle your way onto the guest list.
Don't wheedle your way onto the guest list.